Okay, so this is Drunkgeon, a drinking dungeon exploring game for 1 to 4 people. Now I should note, of course, that this is an alcohol drinking game, but any liquid can be used because reasons. There isn't really an elaborate story behind this game. You are just exploring this dungeon with your cup as your marker piece. So this is the thing that's moving you around the board as you go. Each person starts with one dungeon key mat that looks like this, and one key of the same color. Now your goal is to get a key of each color as you play, because you'll need that in order to enter the treasure room, which is right here to start the game. Also in the game are something called magic mats. These are basically mats that have different magic spells, magic powers. These start on the table and can be bought during your turn and then used later on. They're basically superpowers in a way. They're a good way of like blocking people or stopping people from doing something that would really give them an advantage. On your turn, you're going to do 3 things, potentially. You're going to insert a dungeon mat, which is a fancy way of saying you're going to take your piece here, whatever piece you have. You start the game with this, but it'll change over time. And then you're going to insert this into the dungeon somewhere. And wherever you insert it, it's going to push all the other tiles in that row or that column over one. So whatever tile is left over or is kicked out of the dungeon is the one you'll get to keep. So here's how that works. So I'm going to insert this tile here, like this. And I've pushed out this tile from the edge of the dungeon. So now this tile is my tile to keep until it's my turn again. On the first turn of the game, I'm also going to move my glass over to the place where my key mat got pushed, basically. Next comes one of the more unique elements I've ever seen in a game. Basically, you have this event mat. This is double-sided. It is identical on both sides. And basically what it is a chance to flip it and skillfully catch it. And when you do that, wherever your leftmost finger is represents how many spaces you move. So we see that there's 1 snake, there's 2 swords, there's 4 bones, and so on. If you want, you can also just roll a basic 6-sided die. The game states that this takes away some of the skill of the game, and I tend to agree with that. So you'll take the event mat and you will put it on the edge of the table. I'm just using my hand here for camera. And then you will flip, 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 and catch the event mat. So my leftmost finger touches this mark for 5 shields, so that means I'm going to move 5 spaces. Okay, so this flipping mechanism is a little harder than it looks. It is unique, though, and it is printed on a beer mat, just like all of these other tiles are, so they're going to be more durable than your average card or tile. Now, what you want to be careful of when it's time to move is you want to pay attention to these walls that are part of the game, these light gray walls against the dark gray background. I actually screwed this up because I put my cup here and I've got to move 5 spaces, so I've got to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something like that. You can place your new tile that you're introducing to the game in any orientation you want. So what I might do is something like this. Instead of going like this, play it like this. So then I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or something like that. A couple of fairly obvious rules about the moves. All moves must be used. You cannot move diagonally. You cannot move through walls. And when you get to a fork, you can take any way you want. So to finish up your turn, you can buy one of those magic mats I showed you earlier. These will cost you something, but they become your spell that you can use at any time. And at that point, once you've used it, it goes back into the pile for anyone to use. that cost, you ask, is listed in the upper right corner of the magic mat. And in this case, it's 2 fingers. So this is 2 fingers of your beverage that you're going to be drinking to acquire this magic mat. I never thought I'd say the words strategic drinking game in the same sentence, but there really is a fair bit of strategy here. So in this sample turn, I've actually ended up on a tile that looks like this. This is an example of a trap tile. And what I have to do, I've got to flip that event mat and get this number or higher, or I'm going to drink as a penalty. If I succeed, which I probably will on a 2 or higher, I will claim this as a trophy and then replace it with another sort of generic tile that I can then put in the game as a result. Again, to win the game, you've got to defeat some monsters, you've got to collect some keys, you then get to the treasure room, and then you use that event mat to flip the 9 or higher you need. Now, every mat that you've collected as a trophy adds 1 to your score, so you really do have to battle your way through the dungeon to get to the treasure room. Now, this can be a family-friendly game. Obviously, you don't have to drink alcohol with this. Maybe the adults can have their pint glasses and the kids can have their juice boxes. It doesn't really matter. The fingers are what matters, though, and if your glass is empty, you die. So you always want to be conscious of how much health you have left and act accordingly. Okay, so that was Drunkgeon. I like this game. I think it's got a great balance of strategy, and it's not too complex, so you can actually drink while you're playing. I like that the rules fit on a single sheet of paper. That's always great. I'm of 2 minds about this event mat, though. This dexterity skill of flipping it and then trying to catch it, and then that becomes the number of places that you move. It's not complicated, but it does feel like it might really give an advantage to someone who's really good at flipping this thing and then catching it right on the number that they want or need. You can always use just a regular D6, of course, but this isn't as skillful. I don't know if I'd play this at a bar so much as I'd play it at a gamer night where alcohol is served, or, of course, any drinks. And the reason for that is because it's a 6x6 grid of beer mats, and you're shifting 6 of them every turn, every person's turn. You're shifting 6 of them. So it can be a little fiddly on a large table with a lot of drinks. Now, that said, they are beer mats. They're going to be a little bit more absorbing of liquids and whatever. So the game will be fine if there's any spills, right? So you're not talking about cards or tiles. You're talking about, nice thick beer mats here. So I like this game. I'd play it with some friends that like strategy and like drinking at the same time. So that has been Drunkgeon. I've been Chris Bakke at Games Previewed. Thanks a lot for watching.